Peter and I have always been clowns. You know, I guess when we're together we just enjoy having fun, and that's one thing led to another. How are we going for time, Pete?
Nearly finished. Just got to put my red on.
We had a friend that went overseas and bought a magic trick for Peter, and from there they bought a few other tricks and then decided that they'd like to dress up as clowns.
Ready? You ready? Let's go.
Oh, I thought, not clowns. I'd seen this scary movie years ago, and it scarred me. I just thought, no, don't be a clown, don't put makeup on. But yeah, I got over it. I thought, oh, it's not going to work, it's not going to happen, but they proved me wrong.
Well, I have to be pretty honest. I thought it was a waste of time, embarrassing for starters. Oh, what does your husband do? Oh, well, he's a clown.
My name's Dagwood. Can we say big hello, Dagwood? Hello, Dagwood.
Yeah, I've gained, I think, a respect for them over time and realised that it's not a serious job, but boy, it brings a lot of happiness to people. Not just the clowning thing, but when people find out about their lives,
Are they having fun? Oh, well done.
people are even more blessed, I think, by the fact that someone who has to deal with not being able to breathe sometimes wants to get out there and make someone else have a good time.
Let me just have a quick look here. It's actually hey!
Yes, we have got a serious illness, but I look at it, you know, there's other people out there worse off than what we are. I mean, to look at Peter and I, we look normal from the outside. Some might say good looking.
Oh,
Turn it up. No, but it's the inside, you know, that's where the trouble is. But, you know, I look at myself and, you know, think, well, hey, yes, I've got cystic fibrosis, but, you know, I could be worse off. When we were born 27 years ago, Mum just thought that she was just having one child. When I came out first, the doctors went in to get the afterbirth, and sure enough, they pulled it out and had arms and legs, and it was Peter.
Yeah, so I have the afterbirth complex syndrome, which, I can relate to.
And we still don't know today if David's Peter or Peter's David, because in hospital they put mercurochrome on David's toes, but a nurse come and gave him a big tub one night and washed it all off, so Peter could be David and David could be Peter. Who knows? Who cares, you know?
We had a daughter, Tanya, who had cystic fibrosis, and so when we had the boys, they suspected right from the beginning that they had cystic fibrosis too. Anything you read or heard, there was just no hope. They wouldn't live past, to adulthood or teenage.
Tanya, our sister, was 2 years older than Dave and myself. She was a lot worse than what Dave and I were. She spent a lot of time in hospital.
For Peter and I, especially when we were growing up, we weren't as sick. We probably didn't think we had cystic fibrosis.
And I was at the age of 19 when I had my first hospital admission from the lung sort of complications, and from there it's gone downhill, so.
Yeah, that seems to get done, doesn't it? I don't know, if I'm on my front there a bit, it tends
Cystic fibrosis is a genetic condition. The condition affects the lungs, resulting in chronic infection and inflammation in the airways. It also affects the digestive tract.
Coughing up much stuff? Oh, I had a little bit.
At the present time, the average life expectancy is just over 30 years.
It's funny because you don't see yourself getting worse, because like it's a gradual decline.
I'll make you earn it. Come on. Come on.
You helping?
No. Yeah, I am helping. Come on.
I still make the most of it, but, you know, Peter's a lot, healthier than me.
Yeah, but I'll make the effort to go to the gym and do stuff.
I did it once, didn't like it.
Yeah, didn't it?
Physios won't like that, though.
Yeah.
Peter and I had the privilege of working full-time up until a few years ago, the office administration type work with computers and that, and I loved it.
And not many other CFs get that opportunity of working full time. And then it got to a stage where we were just getting too sick. Now being a house husband is quite different.
Hello.
Hey, what are you doing? Hello.
Oh, how you going? What are you up to?
No, I mean, I'm just doing the ironing. It's probably been sitting there for about a week.
David's supposed to be the house husband, but doesn't quite work like that sometimes.
Yo, hey man, what are you doing? Just finishing off the washing up.
Tends to get a little distracted by the fact that he can have fun with his brother any time of the day.
If you consider about 5 phone calls a day and popping over just for a quick visit, and yeah, that's just how they are, as long as they're hanging out together and just being with each other.
Oh, what a shot! You're kidding.
It's just the 2 boys playing.
I, Stephanie, take you, David, for better, for worse, for richer, for up,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish till death separates us.
to love and to cherish until death separates us.
We both got married around the same time. Both been married now for just over 6 years.
I knew my wife, Sherelle, for about 6 or 7 years. We'd been attending the same church.
Same story. I met Stephanie at church, and Stephanie did say that she wanted to marry a rich person and have lots of kids, and I said, well, you're going to marry a poor person and have none.
No, we can't have kids. The tube's not there or something, and
It's blocked.
yeah, and there's basically no trout in the river, so to speak. So yeah, it finds it very difficult to actually
Trout in the river.
trout in the river. That's what I like to say, wouldn't it?
I've never heard that before, but
When I found out Peter couldn't have children, we both cried together because he was afraid that I would just walk away. But Peter, I just had so much love for him that I just looked past all that and just thought, no, I'm not losing him just because we can't have children.
I think it does take a special person to want to be with us, because there's a lot of issues that they have to deal with as well, and go through a lot of things that we have to.
It's not like I'm thinking, oh, I regret that I did this. I certainly don't feel that. I mean, we've been married 6 years, and in that time I've had heaps of wonderful love, and some people can never claim to even have that in their whole lives, I suppose. So, yeah, you take the good with the bad.
We're just so thankful that they're able to experience a marriage life. We've got some sort of joy out of that, you know. Tanya never did ever get to that stage. She never had a boyfriend or anyone like that, and we felt sad there.
It was 3 years in August that she passed away. The 3 weeks that we had before she died, she just went downhill all the way.
What happened was she got a flu and got a cold, and it was a pretty nasty one.
She was struggling and labouring and breathing, and it's not easy to see someone you love.
Firstly, I would like to thank the Lord for the privilege it was to be Tanya's brother.
I guess we've always got that hanging over our heads. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you don't know when you're going to die, you might get hit by a bus. Yeah, that might be true for the rest of the population, but for people with illnesses, and especially us with CF, we know the track that's already been trodden, and Tanya's been down that track.
We would all agree that Tanya's life, although there were many struggles with her health, she was able to enjoy what life had to offer.
Dave and I have been brought up in a Christian home. We have got those Christian values in ourselves with our strong belief. We know that there's a eternity there for us, so we've got that hope.
With CF, it's so unpredictable, you can't really say to someone you've got 5 years left or whatever. Now that David's sister is gone, it's made me wonder what's happening with David. And certainly last year his health had gone right down. So I was thinking, well, is this the end drawing near? This year has been a better year for him so far. But who knows what the future holds.
Got everything? Yep. There we go, man. I've got to head off, mate. Brought you up here, so I've got to go do a few things, so
What
take
are
it
you
easy.
doing?
Yeah?
Stay.
Stop, man. You promised no tears, eh? If I was going to leave, eh? Come on.
No.
See you later, mate.
Matches in well with the pink, I reckon.
Hey. What are you doing? Girls got about 7.
Hey, Ange, what do you know? Oh, I needed to come in because I started to get a little bit worse in my health. My lung function dropped down and started coughing up more stuff and more productive, so you kind of know when you need to come in. Book yourself in or get a tune-up.
We're just making a bigger hole here so we can pass the catheter through without any resistance to it.
Hey, bro! Hey, man, how you going?
What are you up to, man?
You want to get out and get a bit of coffee, man? Thanks, man, for picking me up, eh?
In the hospital.
How you feeling?
Yeah, not bad. It's a little bit under the weather, but it's good just to have a break. We are close, being twins, and yeah, I've thought about, who's going to go first. Sometimes I think maybe if we're driving along, we might go together or something like that, but it's, but yeah, you do, and you think, well, I guess I kind of think that I'll probably go first because my health is, at a different level, or a different stage to what Peter's is, but, as you said, that the disease is such a disease where anything could happen.
Oh, no, after you, man.
After you.
No, after you, seriously.
No, after you.
Okay. Thanks.
What are we getting?
What do you want? All the antibiotics that they've put me on, like half a dozen of them, whatever. I'm all allergic to them. Although I might have maintained some good lung function now, there is a risk there that you could have an allergic reaction which may possibly kill you. I guess that puts me back into the picture, in the race, so to speak. Not that it is a race, but...
We don't tend to dwell on how long the boys have got, but enjoy the time we've got with them.
We've been blessed 27 years and we'd like to have another 27 years and like it's, each day is special. Each year is a bonus. 10 years is a miracle.
Yes, I never want to ever go down that road again, but sometimes we can't make those choices for ourselves. And for the boys too, if they can't have that quality of life that they enjoy now, I wouldn't. It's very hard to watch someone like your children, especially. It's very unnatural for your children to go before the parent, and
I don't want to be in a marriage for 25 years with someone that's healthy, and I could have a miserable marriage. So I think at the end of it, if we have 10 happy years of marriage, then I think that's been worth it.
There are a lot of griefs associated with the life I've chosen. Griefs about not being able to have children, about knowing that you're not going to grow old, with the person you marry, and knowing that in all likelihood you're going to have to face a future where eventually you're by yourself.
I think you've got to make a couple of choices in life. You could either say, yeah, I've got this illness and, it is a life-threatening illness, and you could either sit back and really play on that. But I guess that does not get you anywhere. Hey, Dave.
Hey, where have you been?
So I guess the only other option is to be positive about it and just say, hey, look, we've got this. Let's try and manage it as best as we possibly can.
They're very well known and they're very popular. I guess most importantly, they've acted as a very positive role model for other younger patients with cystic fibrosis who are managed at the hospital.
We just got to duck out for a couple of hours, do a show.
Okay, no problem.
Scotty's.
Okay. Be back for your 9 o'clock antibiotics?
Yep, we're back. There have been many occasions where we've had to do a show and we've actually put our faces on and leave the hospital with our drips in our arm.
I think it's Dr. Bell, Scott Bell's 50th birthday party. Oh. So can we all wish Scott a happy 50th birthday? 40. Well, it's a happy birthday from Peebo and from Dagwood.
See you, mate. See you, Dad.
Peter and I have achieved a lot of things in the short amount of time that we've already had here. You know, I don't think we probably would have done half the things we've done if we didn't have cystic fibrosis. You know, I often look at myself and I think, well, you know, if I didn't have cystic fibrosis, maybe I wouldn't be who I am. David Bissell.